So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy Ellen. I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. So when it comes to Saudi Arabia, desert. That's all I got. You know, come to think of it, man, I think this is the first video we've ever done on Saudi Arabia. First. So I'm interested to get some information, some history about it, because I have nothing. But only thing I've ever heard was desert, dry. That's it. You know what I mean? So we're going to get into this video, man. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, join the fam, and let's learn something. Seriously.
The first definitive evidence of human existence in the Arabian Peninsula dates back 15,000 to 20,000 years. Bands of hunter-gatherers wandered the land, surviving on wild animals and plants. As the European ice cap melted during the last ice age, some 15,000 years ago, the climate in the peninsula became dry. Vast plains once covered with lush grasslands gave way to scrubland and desert, and wild animals vanished. River systems also perished, leaving behind the dry riverbeds that can still be found on the peninsula today. This climate change forced humans to move into the lush mountain valleys and oases. No longer able to survive as hunter-gatherers, they had to develop another means of survival.
I was about to say, what you expect them to do? The animals probably started migrating and leaving and stuff. You think we was just going to sit there? Nope.
No longer able to survive as hunter-gatherers, they had to develop another means of survival. However, there is an odd activity taking place in Saudi Arabia's deserts. In the early 1960s, Saudi Arabia had only 400 square kilometers of productive ground. But today the kingdom has a large agricultural network of unusual-looking fields that allow farmers to cultivate a wide variety of crops and fruits.
How?
The transition of this desert into a green forest is undeniably amazing. But how did Saudi Arabia accomplish this feat?
How?
Saudi Arabia, which spans the majority of the northern and central Arabian Peninsula, is a young country with a rich past. In its western highlands along the Red Sea lies the Hijaz, which is the cradle of Islam and the site of that religion's holiest cities, Mecca and Medina. In the country's geographic heartland is a region known as Najd, highland, a vast arid zone that until recent times was populated by nomadic tribes. To the east, along the Persian Gulf, are the country's enormous oil resources, which have made Saudi Arabia...
And there you have it right there. That's the only thing you gotta hear is the word oil. Like Dave Chappelle said, all. Yeah, we know now. Now it all makes perfect sense. I was like, how do you go from this to that? Yeah, had to be something in there I was missing.
East along the Persian Gulf are the country's enormous oil resources, which have made Saudi Arabia associated with petroleum wealth since the 1960s. These three elements, religion, tribalism, and boundless wealth, have fueled the country's subsequent history. It is the 14th largest country in the world, with an area of around 2 million square kilometers.
Wow.
The country takes up around 4/5 of the Arabian Peninsula. Saudi Arabia, on the other hand, is one of the few countries on the planet without a single permanent river, with an annual rainfall of less than 150 millimeters. Saudi Arabia had only 400 square kilometers of fertile land in the beginning of the 1960s, but it now has 35,000 square kilometers, which is greater than the Netherlands and more than 3 times the size of Qatar. It's perplexing how they managed to increase the amount of arable land in such a short period of time. Saudi Arabia's agricultural success has been astonishing over the last 3 decades. This is a huge accomplishment in a country that receives an average of only 4 inches of rain per year, one of the lowest rates in the world.
Wow.
Saudi Arabia has the greatest oil reserves of any country on the planet. Oil was discovered in the Dammam oil field in Saudi Arabia in March 1938 at a depth of 1,440 meters. The country today controls...
So basically, if you got oil, you got everything you need. You can make anything happen, huh? You know what I mean? We the lowest country as far as percentages of getting rain each year. So what? Who needs rain? For agriculture? That don't matter. We'll make it happen. Sprinkle a little bit of oil on it. That'll make us like the oil just seems to be the answer to the end all be all around there.
In 1938, at a depth of 1,440 meters. The country today controls around 17% of the world's recognized petroleum reserves. A litre of drinking water in Saudi Arabia costs more than a litre of oil. With an estimated oil reserve of 75 billion barrels, the Ghawar oil field is the world's largest resource, with enough reserves to fill 4.8 million Olympic-sized swimming pools.
Whew.
To put it another way, water is a major issue in Saudi Arabia. The 1970s...
Everybody gonna be drinking oil soon. They got plenty of that. Gosh, how many Olympic-sized swimming pools? I gotta hear that stat again, bro.
Of 75 billion barrels, the Ghawar oil field is the world's largest resource, with enough reserves to fill 4.8 million Olympic-sized swimming pools. To put it another way, water is a major issue in Saudi Arabia. The 1970s saw the kingdom's first serious agricultural development. The government launched a comprehensive program to promote modern farming technology, build rural roads and irrigation networks, and build storage and export facilities, as well as encourage agricultural research and training institutions. As a result, the production of all basic foods has increased dramatically. Saudi Arabia is now completely self-sufficient in a number of foodstuffs, thanks to large amounts of meat, milk, and eggs. Food imports have decreased...
Sorry, I get triggered by the word eggs right about now. Y'all know how much eggs cost in the grocery store right now? Just the mere mention of the word eggs is triggering at this stage of my life, and it shouldn't be. You know what I mean? That's the easiest thing. The first thing most of us probably learned how to cook was eggs. Now you can't even just mention an egg, bro. Expensive behind eggs. But I'm happy for Saudi Arabia, though. This is kind of like a Cinderella story, man, to go from where they were to where they are now, like seamlessly. That's just amazing. Wow.
Saudi Arabia is now completely self-sufficient in a number of foodstuffs, thanks to large amounts of meat, milk, and eggs. Food imports have decreased proportionally as food production has increased. In fact, Saudi Arabia now exports wheat, dates, dairy products, eggs, fish, poultry, vegetables, and flowers to markets around the world. Early in the program, intensive dairy, meat, poultry, and egg farming were all introduced, and by 1985, local farms were meeting domestic demands for many previously imported products. The kingdom now has some of the largest and most modern dairy farms in the Middle East. The milk production rate is one of the highest in the world at 1,800 gallons per cow per year. While traditional offshore fishing has consistently increased fish production, the kingdom is looking into ways to increase catch and encourage more private investment. Aquaculture is one of the new areas in which the private sector is investing with government assistance. The number of fish farms, whether in the sea or on land, has been steadily increasing. The majority are along Saudi Arabia's Red Sea coast. Shrimp farming has been particularly profitable. For example, the national shrimp company Al Rubian has a farm south of Jeddah managed by Saudi hydrobiologists and marine engineers whose shrimp, including the preferred black tiger, is primarily exported to the United States and Japan. The kingdom's most notable agricultural achievement, recognized around the world, was its rapid transition from wheat importer to exporter. The country built its first grain silos in 1978. It had become self-sufficient in wheat by 1984. Soon after, Saudi Arabia began exporting wheat to 30 countries, including China and the former Soviet Union, and average yields in the major producing areas of Tabuk and Qazim reached 3.6 tons per acre. In addition, Saudi farmers grow substantial amounts of other grains such as barley, sorghum, and millet. Wheat and other grain production is now significantly reduced in order to conserve precious water resources. The kingdom, on the other hand, has increased fruit and vegetable production by improving both agricultural techniques and the roads that connect farmers to urban consumers. Saudi Arabia is a major fruit and vegetable exporter to its neighbors. Watermelons, grapes, citrus fruits, onions, squash, and tomatoes are among its most productive crops. The Al Hikmah research station in Jazan, in the country's well-watered southwest, grows tropical fruits such as pineapples, pawpaws, bananas, mangoes, and guavas. This agricultural transformation has altered the country's traditional diet providing a variety of local foods previously unimaginable. Dates are no longer the vital staple that they once were for Saudi Arabians, but they remain an important supplementary food. Much of the annual production of dates, which is estimated to be around 500,000 tons and includes approximately 450 different varieties, is used for international humanitarian aid. Several factories, including one in Al-Hassa, are entirely dedicated to the production of dates for foreign aid and donate tens of thousands of tons of dates each year to alleviate famine and food shortages, primarily through the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization's World Food Programme, WFP-FAO. Many countries have directly benefited from Saudi Arabia's WFP food aid, and the kingdom ranks second only to the United States in terms of contributions to the program. The expansion that has taken place in the agricultural sector of Saudi Arabia over the past few years can be attributed, in large part, to the multitude of government programs that have been implemented, some of which include the provision of soft, interest-free loans in addition to technical and support services. Furthermore, the agricultural sector has reaped the benefits of discounted rates for water, fuel, and electricity, as well as duty-free imports of raw materials and machinery. Foreign individuals or companies that participate in joint ventures with Saudi individuals or companies are exempt from paying taxes for a period of up to 10 years. Additionally, investment regulations that have been in effect since April 2000 offer additional incentives. The Ministry of Agriculture is the primary agency in charge of implementing agricultural policy, as well as providing farmers with research and extension assistance. The Saudi Arabian Agricultural Bank, SAAB, is another organization that provides support. It is responsible for the distribution of subsidies and provision of loans without interest. In 1972, the Grain Silos and Flour Mills Organization, also known as GSFMO, was established in order to support the expansion of agriculture across the nation by purchasing and storing wheat, constructing flour mills, and producing animal feed. To encourage private investment in the agricultural sector, Saudi Arabia has allocated substantial financial resources for improving roads linking producing areas with consumer markets. Furthermore, the Land Distribution and Reclamation Program, which was launched in 1968, aims to distribute fallow land for free, primarily in small plots, in order to increase the area under...
Anytime you hear the word free, that's how you know you got an abundance of wealth. You know what I mean? We're just going to donate free. Now, do I believe in some catches in there? Yeah, but either way, just to have the conversation of some kind of way coming to a resolution of giving somebody something free, yeah, it's that. That's that. All.
Roads linking producing areas with consumer markets. Furthermore, the Land Distribution and Reclamation Program, which was launched in 1968, aims to distribute fallow land for free, primarily in small plots, in order to increase the area under cultivation and encourage crop and livestock production. Beneficiaries must develop at least 1/4 of the land surface within 2 to 5 years. Following compliance, the farmer receives full ownership of the land.
Ooh.
The government continues to assist new farmers.
Take that for an incentive. See, this is the type of practices we need to adopt. You know what I mean? In the right way, in the right context. You know, that would encourage. We always talk about the job numbers. We got to get people back to work. Well, you got to entice them to get back to work. You want business on more small business owners, you got to entice them, make it, you know what I mean, to where it's going to be beneficial for them. They understand the tax breaks and different things like that. They're going to be able to have like things. You see how they're doing it? Like some of the issues, if you turn on like CNBC in the morning and just listen to some of the things that we're dealing with, and then you hear stuff like this, it's like, come on, guys, we got to get it together. Jeez.
Receives full ownership of the land. The government continues to assist new farmers in implementing capital-intensive projects, with a special emphasis on diversification and greater efficiency under the development plans. To increase farm productivity, the government funds and supports research projects aimed at developing new food crops, increasing harvest, and developing plant strains with greater pest resistance. Local farmers and scientists collaborate on these programs at agricultural research facilities at Saudi universities and colleges. The Rub al Khali, the world's biggest continuous sand desert, is located in Saudi Arabia and is 650,000 square kilometers greater than the combined territories of Holland, Belgium, and France. The sand dunes are also staggeringly tall at 250 meters. Furthermore, Saudi Arabia is the world's largest country without a river. Despite the fact that much of the country is desert or semi-arid,
every time I look at the sand and the sand dunes, I was all about going, maybe getting one of them, whatever you call them, dune buggies or whatever it is they ride, and they be just driving all through them little sand dunes and stuff like that. Then I came across the video, and this is where the internet will mess you up. I came across the video of the snake that buries itself in the sand. Like, after that, I was like, that just ruined it. Never mind.
Country without a river. Despite the fact that much of the country is desert or semi-arid, the country boasts a large coastline that spans from the Persian Gulf to the Red Sea. Water, however, is both limited and extremely important due to the country's rapid expansion and the associated increase in water use. As a result, the country sought new ways to ensure that they had enough water to fulfill their expanding demands.
I bet they did.
Saudi Arabia's water supply is mainly reliant on aquifers, with water stored in enormous subterranean lakes and reservoirs. During the 1970s, the government launched a significant effort to discover, map, and estimate the capacity of such aquifers. As a result, tens of thousands of deep tube wells were drilled in the most promising places for both urban and agricultural use. Collectively, these efforts have contributed to the transformation of vast tracts of desert into rich farmland. Land under cultivation increased from less than 400,000 acres in 1976 to millions of acres by the 21st century. Your thoughts on Saudi Arabia's recent developments? Let us know in the comments section below.
It's amazing. Even hearing about the water issue, and throughout the video, I was like, I feel like they have the funds, the money, the resources to figure out a way to solve that problem. I was never like thinking like, oh man, that's just like the missing link for them. Once they figure that out, they're gonna be second to none. Like, no, I knew they were gonna figure that out. When you got that type of resource to get money, you got all that oil, yeah, nothing's really a problem. Now, when it comes to, you know what I mean, the incentives that they were given, which I still think is super dope, man. I ain't gonna lie, bro. The price of eggs was incentivizing me to maybe possibly get my own farm or something like that, man. Y'all think I'm like, man, groceries, bro. Groceries, man. Oh, bro, just think about what it used to cost you to go out to eat, what it costs you now. Think about it now. Or go to the grocery store. Think about what it costs to make a meal. Yeah. And if you got more than 2 kids, you got 3 kids, and they're all boys and they teenagers and they eat a lot, oh, you going through it. My heart goes out to you right now. you got a lot going on, you know what I mean? So listen, I understand it, but shout outs to Saudi Arabia, man. They've came a long ways. So they deserve everything they get, man. Shout outs to them. Y'all get at me in the comment section and let me know what you thought of this video. Did you find it super informative or what? Or is this stuff you already knew? For me, this was all new insight. Y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what you think and stick around and stay tuned. Till next one, I'm gone. Peace.